It is very early, earlier than most people today would ever choose to be awake. The world is still wrapped in darkness. Not the soft, glowing kind of darkness you get from streetlights or phone screens, but a deep, thick darkness. The kind where shapes disappear and the sky feels endless. Above you, the stars are bright, much brighter than anything you might see now. There is no light pollution here, no glowing cities, just a sky full of quiet, distant fire. The air is cold. It settles gently on everything, on the ground, on the wooden roofs, on the fields waiting for morning. A thin layer of dew clings to the grass, making it shimmer faintly in the starlight. And somewhere in this quiet world, inside a small, simple home, someone is asleep. This is not a king, not a knight, not someone important in history books, just an ordinary person, someone whose name we will never know. And yet, their life is full. Familiar in ways that might surprise you. They live in a small village, a cluster of rough wooden huts, built close together as if for comfort. The walls are made from timber and packed earth. The roof is thatched with straw, thick enough to keep out rain, but not always the cold. Inside, the air smells faintly of smoke. That smell never really leaves. It clings to everything, clothes, blankets, even hair. It comes from the hearth, the small fire that is the center of the home. The fire is not burning now, not properly. Just a few glowing embers remain, resting quietly in the ashes like they, too, are asleep. The room is dim, almost completely dark. But if your eyes adjust, slowly, you might begin to see shapes. A low wooden bench, a rough table, a few clay pots resting nearby, tools leaning against the wall. Nothing fancy, nothing extra, only what is needed. And then in one corner, a shape under blankets. That is our person. They are lying on a simple bed. Though bed might be a generous word. It is more like a wooden frame, stuffed with straw and covered with rough fabric. It is not especially soft. It is not especially warm. But after a long day of work, it is enough. They are not alone either. Sleeping spaces are often shared. Maybe a partner lies beside them. Maybe a child. Maybe even a small animal curled up close for warmth. Privacy is not really a thing here. Warmth matters more. For now, they sleep. Their breathing is slow and steady. The kind of sleep that comes from real tiredness. Not the kind where your brain keeps running. No endless thoughts. No late night scrolling. Just rest. Outside, the village is still. No voices. No movement. Just the quiet sounds of the night. A soft wind moves through the trees. You can hear it if you listen closely. It brushes against the thatched roofs and slips through the narrow paths between the huts. Somewhere far off, a dog shifts in its sleep. Maybe lets out a small, lazy bark before settling again. An owl calls from the darkness. A low, steady sound. Not scary, just present. This is a world that does not rush. Time moves differently here. There are no clocks ticking. No alarms waiting to go off. No schedules written down. The day will begin when the light comes, not before. And yet, even in this stillness, there is a quiet sense of waiting. Because morning will come. It always does. Back inside the hut, the air is still cold. The fire has almost gone out now. Just a faint red glow remains. If no one wakes soon to tend it, it will disappear completely. And starting a new fire from scratch is not easy. So even in sleep, there is a kind of awareness. A habit built over years. Our ordinary person shifts slightly under the blanket. Not awake. Not yet. But close. You might notice small details now. Their hands are rough. Not from anything unusual, just from life. From working with tools, soil, wood. Hands that are used every day without rest. Their clothes, even while sleeping, are simple. A loose tunic, maybe. Something worn and repaired many times. Clothes are not easily replaced here. They last as long as they can. Everything does. Nothing is wasted. The silence continues. But slowly, very slowly, the world begins to change. It is almost too subtle to notice at first. The sky shifts, just a little. The deep black softens into something slightly lighter. A hint of gray. A quiet promise that the night is ending. The stars begin to fade. Not all at once. They don't just switch off. They gently disappear, one by one, like they are stepping back to make room for the day. The air feels different too. Still cold, but less heavy somehow. More awake. And then a sound. Very faint. A bird. Just one. It calls out into the quiet. A simple, clear note. Nothing fancy, but it is enough. Because it means something important. Morning is close. Inside the hut, our person stirs again. A small movement. A shift of the head. A slow breath in. Their body knows what is coming even before their mind fully wakes. Another bird joins the first. Then another. The silence begins to break, gently. The world is waking up. But not in a rush. Never in a rush. There is no sudden noise. No loud start. Just a gradual rise, like the world is stretching after a long sleep. And soon, very soon, our ordinary person will open their eyes. They will leave the warmth of their bed, such as it is, and step into a new day that looks very much like the one before. But for now, they remain in that quiet space between sleep and waking, where everything is still soft, still calm, still slow. And honestly, not a bad place to be. Because out here, 1,000 years ago, the day does not begin with stress. It begins with silence, and a sky slowly turning toward light. That quiet moment does not last forever. It never does. The soft gray in the sky grows a little brighter. Not fast. Not dramatic. Just enough that the darkness inside the hut begins to loosen its grip. And then it happens. Our ordinary person wakes. Not suddenly. Not with a jolt. No alarm clock screaming like it's offended by your existence. Just a slow return. Their eyes open halfway, then close again for a moment. Because honestly, getting up is not the most exciting idea. Some things never change even after 1,000 years. They take a breath. The air is cool. You can feel it right away in the chest. A little sharp, but clean. No machines humming. No traffic outside. Just fresh morning air, with a faint hint of smoke from last night's fire. They open their eyes again. This time, they stay open. The hut is still dim, but now shapes are clearer. The outline of the table. The low doorway. The quiet figure sleeping beside them. Everything looks familiar. It always does. For a moment, they do nothing. Just lying there. Listening. The birds outside are louder now. Not loud in a noisy way, more like a gentle background song. A few chirps here, a few calls there. Enough to remind you that the world is moving again. Somewhere nearby, a rooster finally decides it's his moment. He lets out a loud, proud crow. Probably a bit too proud if we're being honest. Our person blinks slowly as if to say yes. Yes, we get it, you're awake. They shift under the blanket. It's warmer underneath than outside. Of course it is. Which makes leaving it a small but real challenge. There is a brief pause. You can almost feel the internal debate. Stay warm or start the day. Warm usually wins, but not for long. Because there is work to do. There is always work to do. And unlike today, there is no 5 more minutes button. No snooze. No pretending you didn't hear the alarm. The sun is the schedule. And it is very reliable. With a quiet sigh, more felt than heard, they push themselves up. The blanket falls away, and the cold air steps in immediately like it has been waiting for this exact moment. It's not rude about it, just direct. They sit on the edge of the bed for a moment. Feet touch the ground. The floor is hard, cool and slightly rough. Definitely not heated flooring. No luxury here. They stretch a little. Nothing dramatic. Just a slow roll of the shoulders, a small movement of the arms. Enough to wake the body. You can hear a soft creak somewhere. Maybe the bed frame, maybe the floor, maybe even their joints. Some things never change. Nearby, someone else stirs. Maybe a partner. Maybe a child. Morning spreads slowly through the room, not just with light, but with movement. One person waking leads to another. A quiet chain reaction. No one speaks yet. There's no need. Words can wait. Instead, there are small sounds. fabric shifting, a low breath, the faint rustle of someone adjusting their blanket, trying to hold on to sleep just a little longer. Our person stands. Now the cold really makes itself known. They reach for their clothes. Nothing fancy. A simple tunic, maybe a belt. Worn, patched, used many times over. The fabric is rough compared to what we're used to today, but to them, it's normal. Comfort is not about softness here. It's about familiarity. They pull the tunic on, adjusting it without thinking. This is a routine they've done hundreds, maybe thousands of times. There are no mirrors. No checking appearance. No, does this look good? If it fits, it works. And that's enough. They run a hand through their hair, quickly, just to get it out of the way. That's the entire morning hairstyle routine. Efficient. No products required. Honestly, kind of impressive. The light grows stronger now. A pale glow slips through the small openings in the hut. Not windows, exactly. Just gaps that let in air. And now, the beginning of day. Dust in the air becomes visible, floating slowly in that soft light. It's quiet but no longer still. Our person takes a step toward the hearth. The fire, or what's left of it. They crouch down, looking at the ashes. There is still a faint glow there. Just enough. A small success. Because starting a fire from nothing is hard work. Keeping embers alive overnight? That's the goal. They nod slightly, almost to themselves. That's one less problem this morning. Behind them, the others in the hut are beginning to wake more fully. A child might sit up, still wrapped in a blanket, eyes half closed. Someone else might yawn quietly, stretching their arms in that slow, heavy way that says, I am awake, but I'm not thrilled about it. Again, very relatable. Outside, the village is no longer silent. You can hear movement now. Footsteps on dirt. A door opening somewhere. Another rooster, because apparently one was not enough. A distant voice calls out. Nothing urgent, just someone greeting the day. The world is coming back to life. But still, no rush. Everything happens in its own time. Our person stands again, glancing briefly toward the doorway. The day is waiting out there. Fields. Effort, but also routine. And there is something steady about that. Something predictable. They take one more slow breath. Then they turn back to the hearth. Because before anything else, before food, before work, before stepping outside, the fire needs to live again. And that is where the real morning begins. But for now, in this soft, quiet light, everything still feels calm. A little cold, a little sleepy, but calm. And honestly, not the worst way to start a day.